हरे कृष्णा।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्णा, दंडवत दंडवत प्रणाम। कैसे हैं आप लोग?
ठीक जी।
So yeah, I just forgot it's in English, correct? Yeah. Yes. Go here or so Sarvesh, you are attending English or Hindi one? I'm audible?
Sir, both will do.
Morning class.
You missed the morning class. Okay, so now we'll start with Mangalacharan. My laptop is some like I don't know slow. I'll start from my phone only. I'm audible clearly, correct?
Yes, Prabhu ji.
Okay, so last time we covered, we started with the introduction. Anybody remembers what we discussed last time? Before that, we'll start with Mangalacharan and then we'll start discussion, okay? So you can recite these Mangalacharan mantras after me. So, before that, I'll just recite Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Now you will recite these mantras which is visible there after me. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya.
Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnanam Dhyanasalakaya.
Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam yena Bhutale.
Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam yena Bhutale.
Swayam Rupaha Kada Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vande Aham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha. Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam.
रूपं सागरजातं सहागनसररघुनदीवम्
Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijan Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam.
साद्वैतं साधुतं परिजतं सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेव
Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Shah.
श्रीराधान् कृष्णपादान् सहागणललिता श्रीविशान्त
He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate.
He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati.
Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute.
Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta
नमोस्तुते
तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी.
तप्तकाञ्चन गौरङ्गी श्रीराधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी
वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये
वृषभानुसुते
देवी
प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य
कृपा सिन्धु
एव च
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
पतितानां
पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद।
जय श्री
जय
कृष्ण
श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद
श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा।
श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर श्री
भक्तवृंद।
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा
हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा
हरे
कृष्णा
हरे
हरे हरे
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे
हरे
राम
राम
कृष्ण
राम
हरे
राम हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा। वेलकम एवरीवन। So this what we discussed, this is called Mangala Charan. Can anybody remembers what is the meaning of Mangala Charan? Last time I think we discussed. So Mangala Charan means Mangala means auspicious, Acharan means practice. So the practice of praying to Guru, praying to Krishna, praying to Vaishnavas, this brings auspiciousness in our existence, in our mind, in our body, and wherever we are existing. And since we are not at all qualified to read, forget about understanding the scriptures.
हरे कृष्णा
So,
प्रभु।
Hare Krishna.
प्रभु हरे कृष्णा प्रभु।
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
आपका डबल वॉइस आ रहा है।
डबल वॉइस आ रहा है।
डबल वॉइस।
अभी भी डबल आ रहा है।
एक मिनट
या
एक मिनट। ओके, मेरे एंड से आ रहा था, यूट्यूब लाइव से शायद। ओके, नाउ गुड, गो अहेड। सॉरी।
yeah. So I was saying that so we are not at all qualified to read the scriptures and forget about understanding the scriptures. So we need the blessings and the practice of praying and asking for the blessings from the Krishna, from Srimati Radharani, from the Vaishnavas, and from Guru. That practice brings auspiciousness, and thus we become qualified to read and understand the scriptures. Now, the last time we started with the introduction part. We discussed. Can anybody tell me what all we discussed last time? These sections we finished. Can anybody say a few points?
Yes, Guruji. Initially, they were Krishna was telling to Arjuna that this Bhagavad Gita, this was already started by Krishna. He transferred to sun god, and sun god to Manu, I think, then to Ikshvaku, and that chain got broke in between, and this devotional thing did not like it got disappeared in between. So right now,
Correct.
since Krishna, since Arjuna is a devotee and friend of Krishna, he wants to start a new devotional this transfer from
Chan, yeah.
through Arjuna. And then they also spoke about how one should be related to God. Like before we listen to the gods, this Gita, one should be related to God in any one of those 5 ways, either in passive
Correct.
or active state, or as a friend or a parent or as a conjugal lover. And we should have a belief in Lord Krishna before we start this Gita. That is, yeah,
Yes,
nowadays,
perfect.
yeah, nowadays we have forgot about how we should be connected to God. We have forgot about that. So that was the thing in short we discussed.
Correct. Very nicely you mentioned. And before this, we just discussed the initial section was like Srila Prabhupada mentioning about the requirement of the current version of Bhagavad Gita, which we have Bhagavad Gita as it is. So he starts by saying that there are many translators who had given the commentary and translation, but generally all the commentators, they have mixed their own opinion. And that is how the original message of the Bhagavad Gita or the spirit of Bhagavad Gita seems to be lost. So if we want to understand Bhagavad Gita, then we have to understand the spirit of Bhagavad Gita, and the spirit of Bhagavad Gita is given by Krishna himself to Arjuna. So that is how it started. And then what is to understand the actual spirit of Bhagavad Gita, we have to accept Krishna as God. We, like many authors or interpreters or commentators, they have accepted Krishna as some superior human being, some very exalted human being, but they have not accepted Krishna as Bhagavan. So unless we understand, we accept at least thoroughly or theoretically, we accept Krishna as Bhagavan, it will be very difficult for us to understand the spirit of Bhagavad Gita. And then Srila Prabhupada mentioned that there were many acharyas in the ancient history, particularly the Sanatana history, who have accepted Krishna as God. And here are some names you can see on the screen: Shankaracharya, Ramacharya, Madhvacharya. And after speaking all this, then Srila Prabhupada starts mentioning from the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, as you rightly mentioned, that initially this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita was given to Vivashwan, and went to Manu, Ikshvaku, all that. Parampara got broken, as you mentioned, and then Krishna again gave this knowledge to Arjuna. And Arjuna had two qualifications. First was he was a devotee of Krishna. Second, he was related to Krishna. So he was related to Krishna as a friend. And then Srila Prabhupada mentioned that to understand properly Bhagavad Gita, we should be devotee of Krishna, and we should be in relation to Krishna in one of these 5 relationships. Even Srila Prabhupada mentions here that we have got eternal relationship with Krishna, which we have forgotten. And once we start practicing Bhagavad Gita or the teachings of Bhagavad Gita or Bhakti, then the forgotten relationship of ours to Krishna will be revived. And that is called Swarupa Siddhi. So, yeah, which is perfection of one's constitutional position. So then we discussed till here, and then I discussed further, or it was it? This section was discussed, I guess, correct?
Yes.
Arjuna realization.
It is already discussed.
Yeah. So then Srila Prabhupada mentioned here that when Arjuna understood about Krishna, so what was his realization about Krishna? So Arjuna says that Param Brahmam Param Dhamma Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. So he Prabhupada is mentioning this section from the chapter 10th, 12 to 14. So in chapter 10, sloka number 8, 9, 10, 11, that is Chatur Shloki Bhagavad Gita. So when Krishna spoke the Chatur Shloki Bhagavad Gita, then from 12, 13, 14, then Arjuna shared his realization. So he says that, you are Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are the ultimate abode, purest and everything. So he confirms basically that, actually you are God, you are the absolute truth. So basically the perfection of understanding Bhagavad Gita is to accept Krishna as God. And then he says, I am not only saying that many great sages like Narada, Sita, Devala, Vyasa, they have also mentioned that you are ultimate truth, you are Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he also mentioned that neither the demigods nor the demons. It's very difficult, my dear Lord, that to understand you. And even demigods and demons, they can also not understand you. But you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So after hearing Bhagavad Gita from Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna accepted Krishna as Param Brahma, Supreme Brahman. So Param Brahma, these are detail mentioned here. So yeah. So now this section, that was kind of conclusion. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita should be taken as in the spirit of devotion. One should not think that he is equal to Krishna. So I mentioned that Jivatma can become Paramatma. But Jivatma can become Mahatma. Jivatma can never become Paramatma. So Paramatma is Krishna. So the Supreme Person is Krishna. We can never be equal to Krishna. So that is the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. So yeah, I think this we discussed. Unless one reads the Bhagavad Gita in a submissive spirit, it is very difficult to understand Bhagavad Gita because it is a great mystery. Now, now from here onwards, so here, so in second section, whatever, what was the point? Srila Prabhupada is trying to make us understand that with what spirit we should try to read Bhagavad Gita. So the spirit was Vasudeva Bhagavate Bhakti Yoga Prayojita. That Krishna is Bhagavan, Vasudeva Krishna is the Bhagavan, and through practice of bhakti we can understand Bhagavan. So without devotion we cannot understand Krishna. Okay, and when you're practicing devotion, you'll practice devotion in a particular relationship with Krishna, and that's how Srila Prabhupada mentioned that about those relationships. Now, in the next section which I'm going to discuss, or Srila Prabhupada will be discussing with us, is what is Bhagavad Gita. So now can somebody start reading just what is the Bhagavad Gita?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes, please.
Just what is the Bhagavad Gita? The purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to deliver mankind from the nescience of material existence. Every man is in difficulty in so many ways, as Arjuna also was in difficulty in having to fight the battle of Kurukshetra. Arjuna surrendered unto Sri Krishna, and consequently this Bhagavad Gita was spoken. Not only Arjuna, but every one of us is full of anxieties because of this material existence. Our very existence is in the atmosphere of non-existence. Actually, we are not meant to be threatened by non-existence. Our existence is eternal. But somehow or other, we are put into asat. Asat refers to that which does not exist.
So, yeah, so we'll just discuss these points. Very important points are mentioned over here. So what is Bhagavad Gita? So, and what is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita? So the purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to deliver us from this material existence. So the material existence is something which is not our real existence. And so material existence is basically we are putting lots of efforts to become happy. Our nature is that we should be happy always. So, but then instead of putting lots of efforts, the more problems we are trying to solve, the solutions are more problematic than the real problems. Why? Because we have been, some kind of shackled or, caught up in a situation which is not our real situation. So actually our real situation is what? Our real situation is we are something different from our body, and we are actually the servant of Krishna, or we are in one of the relationship with Krishna. And when we revive that or realize that our actual situation, then we can be free from the current situation where we have got caught up. So yeah, so asat. So but somehow we are caught up in this asat situation. Asat refers to which does not exist. So the material existence, whatever we are saying, we are able to see, that is kind of illusory energy of Krishna, and that's how we are where it's like have you heard of mirage? Anyone?
Yes, Guruji.
Yes, Prabhu.
What is mirage?
Yes, Guruji.
Illusion.
Hmm?
Illusion.
Correct. So things you feel it is there, but actually it is not there. Similarly, we are trying to be happy in this material world, whereas this material world is not meant to give us happiness. Rather, the material world is designed in such a way so that we can experience suffering, and by getting the suffering, we try to realize, or we try to inquire about the Krishna. So that is the perfection of the material world. If in the material world, beside putting lots and lots of efforts, none of us are becoming happy. So I think these things will be discussed ahead also. So someone can read now from the next section.
Can I read, Guruji?
Yeah, please.
Out of so many human beings who are suffering, there are a few who are actually inquiring about their position, as to what they are, why they are put into this awkward position, and so on. Unless one is awakened to this position of questioning his suffering, unless he realizes that he doesn't want suffering, but rather wants to make a solution to all suffering, then one is not to be considered a perfect human being. Humanity begins when this sort of inquiry is awakened in one's mind. In the Brahma Sutra, this inquiry is called Brahma Jignasa, Athato Brahma Jignasa. Every activity of human being is to be considered a failure unless he inquires about the nature of the absolute. Therefore, those who begin to question why they are suffering, or where they came from, and where they shall go after death, are proper students for understanding Bhagavad Gita. The sincere student should also have a firm respect for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a student was Arjuna.
So it's like a dog. Suppose there is a dog, and dog has got some cut or something, and then that cut will get some infection, and with that infection, the dog will die. You must have never seen the dog going to a doctor and saying, "Can you cure my this infection?" You won't see, correct? So, but humans, they can. Human, as a human being, whenever we have some problem, we have some fever or something, some health issues, we go to doctor. We try to get cured for our suffering. But the wonder, I mean, it's very, you know, it's very difficult to see people trying to, I mean, very few people, like spiritual people only, they are trying to give the full stop to the suffering which they are getting in this material world, just for doing nothing. I mean, they must have done some past karma or something, but then currently we see that we have not done anything wrong, but still we are suffering this material world. Why? So the question must come. So that's what given over here, that you will be qualified to call as a human being when you ask this question, that why am I suffering this world, this material world? And when you start asking this question, you become a human. So the Brahma Sutras has given this sutra, Atato Brahma Jigyasa. It means Ath Ataha. Atata means now you have got the human body. Now you have got the human body. So now you should do Brahma Jigyasa. Brahma Jigyasa means you should inquire about why am I suffering. You should inquire about from where I've come from. You should inquire about where I have to go. And you should inquire about who is the controller of all. So these are some questions, which one should raise to be called as a human being. Okay. If anybody has any question, you can interrupt me. We can discuss in between, because we are anyway less people in this class.
Prabhu, I have a question right now at the moment.
Yes, please.
Prabhu, whatever I'm sorry, whatever you are saying in this connection only, like we should have a Brahma Jigyasa, means that if we are in a human form, we have got this life, human life, then it is our duty to ask or inquire about all these things. But can we say it like this, ki this is in order to get the perfection of life, this will be, if somebody is having Brahma Jigyasa, it means he knows what is what quality, what is the purpose of human being, And if he knows about this, inquires about this and gets the answer, then it is known that his life is perfect.
Perfect. Yeah, yeah.
So is perfection of life, or it is the just being in a human form? It is, I mean, until unless there are so many people, but not all of them, they are interested in knowing, or they are not Brahma Jigyasu.
Yeah, so those who are Brahma Jigyasu,
Yeah.
they can be called as a human being. And then once after start, I mean, this is a starting point actually. Brahma Jigyasu is the starting point. And
Okay.
when they perfectly understand that who is the supreme person, that is Krishna. And then they understand that, I need to love with Krishna, I need to serve Krishna. And then when they, develop the perfect devotional mood about Krishna, or they become perfect devotee or pure devotee of Krishna, then that is the perfection of human life. Brahma Jigyasa is the starting point of human life. Like peoples nowadays, they are even at the animal platform because they are just behind eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So, Mahabharata, this slok comes that, ahara nidra bhaya maitunam cha samanya etad pasubhi naranam dharmo hittesham adhiko vishesho dharmena hina pasubhi samana. Ahara nidra bhaya maitunam cha. So, ahara means eating, nidra means sleeping, bhaya means like, self-protection, and maitunam means reproduction. So, these four things are done by animals and humans both. Ahar nidra bhayam. The samanam is the pasubhi naranam. Pashu and humans, they both do this thing. But dharmo hitesham adhiko vishesho. Dharma is the special qualification which humans have got. So dharmen hina pasubhi samana. So dharmen hina, without dharma, humans are as good as animals. So basically, human minus dharma is animal. Okay.
Prabhu, here dharma means to be a jigyasu, or dharma means to follow the instructions of God or the Lord.
Yeah, so dharma is to sakshat Bhagavad Pranitam. What Bhagavad Pranitam? So whatever Lord had said, that's called
Lord
dharma.
says, dharma, yes.
So that
Okay, thank you.
because Lord is the supreme person. So like this, the teachings of Lord in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, if we practice those teachings in our life, that means we are on the path of dharma.
So it means,
Ajay,
Prabhu,
these both are connected to each other.
there are two stages. One is to that a human should first come to the Brahma Jigyasa state of
Yeah.
affairs, and then secondly, after having these answers of this Jigyasa, the inquiry, then he should follow whatever the God has said in Bhagavad Gita or in any other scripture.
Correct.
Following
Correct.
is equally important. Then it will be called that we are dharmic, or we are following.
Otherwise, we'll have to take birth again in this material world. If we don't get, the path or the Brahm, raising the Brahma Jigyasa, if he's getting the answer, he's not practicing, then what's the point of it? He'll again have to take the birth in this material world, maybe as an animal or as a human or anything. But then he'll have to come back to the material world again. But if the teachings or after his inquiry, whatever right answers he have got, if he starts practicing it, then he can make his life perfect.
Perfect. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, sir.
Hare Krishna.
Now, next section, Lord Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Should I read?
Yes, yes.
Lord Krishna descends specifically to establish the real purpose of life. When man forgets that purpose, even then, out of many human beings who awaken, there may be one who actually enters the spirit of understanding his position. And for him, this Bhagavad Gita is spoken. Actually, we are all swallowed by this tigress of nescience, but the Lord is very merciful upon living entities, especially human beings. To this end, he spoke the Bhagavad Gita, making his friend Arjuna his student. Being an associate of Lord Krishna, Arjuna was above all ignorance. But Arjuna was put into ignorance on the battlefield of Kurukshetra just to question Lord Krishna about the problems of life, so that the Lord could explain them for the benefit of future generations of human beings and chalk out the plan of life. Then man could act accordingly and perfect the missions of human life.
Yes. So basically, here it is very clearly mentioned that Lord Krishna descends Why? What is the purpose of Krishna's appearance in this material world? That Krishna is coming to connect, or to remind us that actually you are not the part of this material world, rather you are my son, you are my daughter. So that is the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita. So there is story comes in in Akbar Birbal story. It's very famous in India. So once this Akbar asked question to Birbal, and he said, see, in our religion, you never see that God is running here and there, just going here and there. And if I see in your religion, you say that the Lord has incarnated Rama and he's just running here and there, behind his wife. And then I see that Krishna is appearing and he is doing something here and there, and Narsimha is coming. I mean, if Lord is powerful, he can just think that the problem of this person should get resolved, and the problem gets resolved. So why does Lord has to come again and again? And if it's coming once, that's fine. He can send his people. Why is he coming again and again in this material world? So if suppose somebody asks a question like this to you, what you'll answer? You got the question of Akbar to Birbal?
Prabhu, because Krishna, we are part and parcel of Krishna. It means we are the kids of Krishna. So if
Yeah.
kids are in problem, the father will automatically and definitely, without thinking twice, he will come to save his kids. That is the only thing.
Correct. So that is what even this. So what happened? So in that story, so Birbal said it's fine. I'll give the answer of this question later. And then one day the Birbal, he went to Akbar and he asked that let's go for a for a boat ride. And then he just asked Akbar to take your son also. Then Akbar, Birbal and his son, they all went for the boat ride. And then he asked that to keep some swimmers or someone with you, so that if something emergency is happening or accident is happening, there should be some people to save us. And then 3-4 people went kind of swimmers, and then Akbar, Birbal and the son of the Akbar, they all went. And then in between, this child was playing in the water or something, and then Birbal, what he did, he just pushed the child, and the child fell in the water. I mean, nobody could see that he is pushing the child in the water, but then he just pushed, and the boy, he fell inside the water. And Akbar, without having a second thought, he just jumped inside the water. He went inside the water and he just pulled him out on the boat. And then Birbal was like, why did you do this? You are a king. You got wet. How can you do this? You could have told to me. You could have told to these swimmers. We have brought all of them. And then Akbar was like, it's fine. But that time it so happened that I could not think anything. I just jumped because. And then he was like, why did you do that? And then Akbar was like, understand. It's like something internally connection happens. And when you see something happening to your child, and then just can't think twice, and then you just do that. So I did that. And then Birbal was like, see, this is the same situation with the Lord, as you mentioned rightly, that when the Lord sees that his kids are suffering in this world, then Lord, without having the second thought, he incarnates. I mean, he takes the incarnation of Narsimha. Narsimha is actually the emergency incarnation of the Lord. Apart from that, the planned incarnation like Lord Rama, Lord Krishna, actually these incarnations are also just to establish that how much Lord is caring and what are the qualities of the Lord, how much Lord cares for his devotees and what is the nature of the Lord. See, suppose somebody tells you that so somebody tells you that you should love this person, then you would wish to know about that person, correct? And that is how, unless the Lord comes in this world and unless Lord shows his nature, his pastimes, his behavior, his beauty, his energies, we won't feel attracted to Krishna, correct? So just to exhibit that, the Lord descends. The Lord descends to re-establish the real purpose of life. And the real purpose of life is that we again get connected to Krishna. So, and then second paragraph, Prabhupada is mentioning that actually Arjuna is just kind of, playing drama. He's just taking the role on behalf of all of us. So, and he's asking question to Krishna. But actually, the questions of Arjuna is not the questions of Arjuna. Rather, Arjuna is asking our questions, because the questions which Arjuna is raising, the answers of those questions will be actually or are actually very much beneficial for all of us. The man could act accordingly and perfect the mission of human life if we follow the teachings of Krishna. Next. Now the next section will describe the subject matters of Bhagavad Gita. Yes, someone please read. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
The subject of the Bhagavad Gita entails the comprehension of 5 basic truths. First of all, the science of God is explained, and then the constitutional position of the living entities, jivas. There is Ishvara, which means the controller, and there are jivas, the living entities, which are controlled. If a living entity says that he is not controlled, but that he is free, then he is insane. Please scroll down. Thank you. The living being is controlled in every respect, at least in his conditioned life. So in the Bhagavad Gita, this subject matter deals with the Ishwaras, the supreme controller, and the Jivas, the controlled living entities. Prakriti, material nature, and time, the duration of existence of the whole universe, or the manifestation of material nature, and karma activity are also discussed. The cosmic manifestation is full of different activities. All living entities are engaged in different activities. From Bhagavad Gita, we must learn what God is and what the living entities are, what Prakriti is, what are the cosmic manifestation is, and how it is controlled by time, what the activities of the living entities are.
So basically,
that-
here the five subject matters are discussed. So what is first one? Somebody tell me. What is the first subject matter of Bhagavad Gita? About jivas, the living entity. That is the first subject matter of Bhagavad Gita. That who are living entities or who are jivas. So we are actually the living entities or jivas. What is second subject matter?
Ishvara.
Perfect. Second is Iswara. So first is jiva, second is Iswara. Third is
Prakriti.
Prakriti, the material nature. So jiva is we, Iswara is Krishna, Prakriti is the material nature where we are living. And what is the next?
Time.
Time, kala. So when we want to, so we are always under the spell of this time, because we have to do something, then there is a time. And then what is the last subject matter of Bhagavad Gita?
Karma.
Karma. So the activity. So in this material world, we have to do something. So then that is the karma. So these are the 5 things which are discussed throughout Bhagavad Gita. These are the main subject matter of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so at the end of Bhagavad Gita, we should be aware of these 5 topics.
Yes.
Fine.
Yes.
Next section.
Out of these 5 basic subject matters in Bhagavad Gita, it is established that the Supreme Godhead, or Krishna, or Brahman, or the Supreme Controller, or Paramatma, you may use whatever name you like, is the greatest of all. The living beings are in quality like the Supreme Controller. For instance, the Lord has control over the universal affairs of material nature, as will be explained in the later chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Material nature is not independent. She is acting under the directions of the Supreme Lord. As Lord Krishna says, Maya Dyakshena Prakrit Suyate Sa Karakharam. This material Characharam, sorry. This material nature is working under my direction. When we see wonderful things happening in the cosmic nature, we should know that behind this cosmic manifestation, there is a controller. Nothing could be manifested without being controlled. It is childish not to consider the controller. For instance, a child may think that an automobile is quite wonderful to be able to run without a horse or other animal pulling it. But a sane man knows the nature of the automobile's engineering arrangement. He always knows that behind the machinery there is a man, a driver. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is the driver under whose direction everything is working. Now the jivas or the living entities have been accepted by the Lord, as well as we will note in the later chapters, as his parts and parcels. A particle of gold is also gold. A drop of water from the ocean is also salty. And similarly, we the living entities, being part and parcel of the supreme controller Ishvara or Bhagavan, Lord Sri Krishna, have all the qualities of Supreme Lord in the minute quantity, because we are minute Ishwaras, subordinate Ishwaras. We are trying to control nature, as presently we are trying to control space or planets, and this tendency to control is there because it is in Krishna. But although we have a tendency to lord it over material nature, we should know that we are not the supreme controller. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita.
So, out of these 5 subject matter, initially Srila Prabhupada mentioned that Bhagavan or the Ishvara or the Paramatma, they are all same name. I mean, the same thing, whatever names you give. He is the top among all these 5. Now, then this paragraph will be discussed. It is telling us the relationship between Ishvara, Jiva, and Prakriti, or the material nature. So, can somebody tell me what is the relationship between Ishvara and Prakriti?
Controller.
Yeah, so Prakriti is not independent. It is actually controlled by the Supreme Lord. What is the relationship between Jiva and Prakriti?
Jivas are governed by Prakriti. They are under the spell of Prakriti. Jivas.
They're under the spell of. Yeah, they are actually Jiva. When it tries to exploit the material nature, it gets caught up by the material nature. Actually, Jiva is not directly under the material nature, but when the Jiva tries to independently handle with the material nature, it's get caught by the material nature. Otherwise, it's actually Jiva is the part and parcel of Krishna. So Jiva is also spiritual, Krishna is also spiritual. But then when Jiva becomes separated from Krishna and Jiva tries to lord over the material nature independently, then the material nature, which is very powerful in comparison to Jiva, when Jiva is alone, independent, single, and then the Jiva is caught by the material nature. And the relationship between Jiva and Ishvara is what? Jiva is part and parcel of Krishna. Jiva is actually also Ishvara, but Jiva is actually a small, minute Ishvara, and Krishna is Param Ishvara, or the Lord is the Param, Supreme. So Ishvara means controller. So we are also controllers. We can control little. We can control our flat. We can control our vehicles. We can control our hand, our legs, but we cannot control the overall material creation. But Krishna, he can control the total material creation. Okay. So this way we can understand the relationship between Jiva, Prakriti, and Bhagavan. Clear to everyone?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Next. Yes. Now, material nature has also got some divisions, so we'll understand that. Please.
Prabhu, there is a question from the last para. Would you like to take this question?
Yeah.
Hello, Prabhu.
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay, fine, thank you. There are 5 topics, subject matters are discussed. So in that they are using a term cosmic manifestation.
Yeah.
So is it? I mean, I would like to know what is it same as Prakriti or it is something different?
Prakriti. Cosmic manifestation is Prakriti. Yeah.
Prakriti only. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes. Next, please read someone. What is material nature?
Prabhu, may I?
Yes,
If nobody's
please.
nobody's reading, then
Yeah.
from this, what is material nature? From this place, na?
Yeah.
What is material nature? What is material nature? This is also explained in the Gita as inferior prakriti, inferior nature. The living entity is explained as the superior prakriti. Prakriti is always under control, whether inferior or superior. Yes. Prakriti is female and she is controlled by the Lord, just as the activities of a wife are controlled by the husband. Prakriti is always subordinate, predominated by the Lord, who is the predominator. Who is the predominator? The living entities and material nature are both predominated, controlled by the Supreme Lord. According to the Gita, the living entities, although parts and parcel of the Supreme Lord, are to be considered Prakriti. This is clearly mentioned in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Aparyan, aparyam, itasta anyam prakartim vidhi me param jiva bhutam. This material nature is my inferior prakriti, but beyond this is another prakriti, jiva bhutam, the living entities. So the material nature, should I stop?
No, please continue. It's fine.
Okay. So material nature itself is constituted by 3 qualities: the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance. Above these modes, there is eternal time. And by a combination of these modes of nature and under the control and purview of eternal time, there are activities which are called karma. These activities are being carried out from time immemorial, and we are suffering or enjoying the fruits of our activities. For instance, suppose I am a businessman and have worked very hard with intelligence and have amassed a great bank balance, then I am an enjoyer. But then say I have lost all my money in business, then I am a sufferer. Similarly, in every field of life, we enjoy the results of our work or we suffer the results. This is called karma. Yeah.
So basically, in these 2 paragraphs, so in the first paragraph, it was like, Jiva, even though it's a part and parcel of Krishna, but sometimes Jiva is also considered Prakriti as well. So Jiva is actually the superior Prakriti, and the Prakriti is actually inferior Prakriti. So that was mentioned in the first paragraph. And then second one, the concept of karma and time is brought. So the Prakriti, the material nature, or the inferior Prakriti, it has got 3 qualities: goodness, sattvagun, rajogun, and tamagun. And when these 3 qualities combines with the time, and then it puts an impact on the jiva, and then jiva executes some activity, and that is called as karma. So the Prakriti is combined with time, and it puts the impact on a jiva. It puts some kind of motivation or aspiration in the jiva, and that's how the jiva acts, and that is called as karma. So, and then whatever karma jiva does, either it gets suffering or it gets happiness. And the example of businessman is mentioned here. So the kind of karma he'll do, similarly he'll get the results. Anybody any question? Is it clear to everyone?
Yes.
Yes, Prabhu.
Next, please read.
Ishvara, the Supreme Lord, Jiva, the living entity, Prakriti, nature, Kala, eternal time, and Karma, activity, are all explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Out of these 5, the Lord, the living entities, material nature, and time are eternal. The manifestation of Prakriti may be temporary, but it is not false. Some philosophers say that the manifestation of material nature is false, but according to the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita or according to the philosophy of Vaishnavas, this is not so. The manifestation of the world is not accepted as false. It is accepted as real but temporary. It is likened unto a cloud which moves across the sky, or the coming of the rainy season, which nourishes grains. As soon as the rainy season is over, and as soon as the clouds goes away, all the crops which were nourished by the rain dry up. Similarly, the material manifestation takes place at a certain interval, stays for a while, and then disappears. Such are the working of Prakriti. But this cycle is working eternally. Therefore, Prakriti is eternal. It is not false. The Lord refers to this as my Prakriti. This material nature is separated energy of the Supreme Lord, and similarly, the living entities are also energy of Supreme Lord, although they are not separated but eternally related. So the Lord, the living entity, material nature, and time are all interrelated and are all eternal. However, the other item, karma, is not eternal. The effects of karma may be very old indeed. We are suffering or enjoying the results of our activities from time immemorial, but we can change the results of our karma or our activity, and this change depends on the perfection of our knowledge. We are engaged in various activities. Undoubtedly, we do not know what sort of activities we should adopt to gain relief from the actions and reactions of all these activities. But this is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. The position of Ishvara, the Supreme Lord, is that of supreme consciousness. The jivas are the living entities, being parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, are also conscious. Both the living entity and material nature are explained as Prakriti, the energy of the Supreme Lord, but one of these two, the jiva, is conscious. The other Prakriti is not conscious. That is the difference. Therefore, the jiva Prakriti is called superior because the jiva has consciousness which is similar to the Lord's. The Lord's is supreme consciousness, however, and one should not claim that the jiva, the living entity, is also supremely conscious. The living being cannot be supremely conscious at any stage of his perfection, and the theory that he can be so is a misleading theory. Conscious he may be, but he is not perfectly or supremely conscious. The distinction between the Jiva and the Ishvara will be explained in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The Lord is Kshetrajna, conscious as the living being, but the living being is conscious of his own particular body, whereas the Lord is conscious of all bodies because he lives in the heart of every living being. He is conscious of the psychic movements of the particular jivas. We should not forget this. It is also explained that the Paramatma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is living in everyone's heart as Ishvara, as the controller, and he is giving directions for the living entity to act as he desires. The living entity forgets what to do. First of all, he makes a determination to act in a certain way, and then he is entangled in the actions and reactions of his own karma. After giving up one type of body, he enters into another type of body as we take off and put on clothes. As the soul thus migrates, he suffers the actions and reactions of his past activities. These activities can be changed when the living being is in the mode of goodness, insanity, and understand what sort of activities he should adapt. If he does so, then all the actions and reactions of his past activities can be changed. Consequently, karma is not eternal. Therefore, we stated that of the 5 items, Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, time, and Karma, 4 are eternal, whereas Karma is not eternal. Shall I continue?
So, no, let's discuss whatever we discussed now. So
Okay.
basically, out of these 5 subject matters of Bhagavad Gita, or 5 items, 4 are eternal: Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, and Karma. Whereas karma is not eternal, because karma is, like action and reaction. So you have done some action, you'll get the reaction, and the karma goes on. I mean, gets finished, wiped out in a due course of time. But these four, Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, and time, these four are actually eternal. Now, here there are some philosophies which is also sometimes known as, Mayavadi philosophy. So you must have heard Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. Have any of you heard of it?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes,
So many times.
Yeah. What is the meaning of this?
Only God is truth, and this material world is mithya. It's not. It is asat, not true.
Yeah. Correct. So here Prabhupada is saying that here the Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. So Jagat Mithya, Mithya means temporary. Mithya doesn't mean it does not exist. It's false. So it's temporary. It's not unreal. Mithya means sometimes the some translators they say that Mithya means not real. So it's not real. But Prabhupada is saying no, it's wrong. Actually, Mithya means it's temporary. So material world, it has existence. It's temporary, but it does exist. And then its existence is actually in a different way. So, but then material nature is not false. So it's like he gives the example of cloud. So cloud is temporary for some time, then it goes away. It again, when a rainy season comes, it comes out. Similarly, the material nature, it always exists. It has a, when this material world gets destroyed, that time also material nature exists in a, neutral phase. But then the material, which is also called as Mahatattva or Pradhana. So in that state it exists, but then material nature does exist all the time. And then he says karma is not eternal. So why? Because the effect of karma may be, it's like suffering and enjoying. You did some karma, and then karma gets wiped out. And then he mentions about jivas and Paramatma and living entity. It forgets. I mean, generally, when living entity comes in the contact with material nature, or when it goes away from Krishna or the Paramatma, then the material nature forgets, and then when the material nature, the living entity tries to do his karma whimsically, then it gets entangled in the action and reaction process, and then it has to take again birth after birth after birth. So it takes one form of life, it does some karma, and then that karma results in kind of, the karma is basically action, and then he has to pay back the reactions of that karma. Those reactions can be good or bad, and that's how the enjoyment and suffering is a combination of our life. So we enjoy because we have done some good karma. We suffer because we have done some bad karma. And then while suffering in this material world or while enjoying this material world, so these are actually suffering and enjoyment which we are getting in this world. These are the reactions of the previous karma. And now, while doing so, we create new karmas. And that's how there is non-ending process unless we take devotion to Krishna. Anybody any question?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, please.
Prabhuji, how is time eternal?
Yeah, so time is eternal. I mean, everybody says, "Samay kisi ka wait nahi karta." Time never waits for anyone. So time is actually eternal. In this material world, there is a starting and there is an ending. So that's how time is eternal. Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji, yes.
Yeah, so Kal in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says that Kalo Asmi Aham. So I am the Kala. So Kala is actually eternal.
Prabhu, I think Mataji is asking that she has a confusion, I think, and which I also have. Like she's asking that whether Kala is eternal or not. I think because she's saying because Kala or the time changes, like the present as present time, past time, future time.
Yeah, yeah.
So time changes for the jivas. So if it is eternal, then why this differentiation is there for a person, for a jiva, the time keeps changing. So how do you
Eternal,
understand that?
eternal means, what is the meaning of eternal? Eternal means sanatana. So there are three things in Sanskrit that's called Puratana, Sanatana, and Nutana. So Puratana is
Yes.
it's like oldest, and
Fastest.
Nutana is the new. Yeah.
New.
And Sanatana, it means there is no start, there is no ending. So that's called Sanatana. It's always exist. So time, no one knows when it started, no one knows when it will be ending. So Sanatan Dharma is basically nobody can tell, when the Sanatan Dharma started. So Sanatana means it's like eternal. So see, when you can't tell the exact time when it started, then that's called Sanatana.
But for Prabhu, for us, time is fixed. When I took birth, that was my starting point, and when I leave this world, that will be my, the end of everything. So I have got as a particular jiva have a particular span of time. Okay.
No, so we are not the
then-
body. The body had a start and body will end.
Oh yes, 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 Prabhu.
Yeah. So
Yes,
so we
correct.
forget that we are not the body, we are the soul.
Yeah, I'm forgetting it.
Yeah.
So thank you, Prabhu.
Correct. Okay. Yes, I think the time is over, or we have time.
Prabhu is 13 past 10. So I think almost over.
Yeah. So if somebody has any questions, we can take. We are now.
Yes,
on,
I have a question. Yes,
so,
I have a question that the living entities are moving different species and doing different activities. But why we don't feel adjusted to do devotional service in CEO?
your voice was breaking. Can you speak again?
Yes. My question is that we live entities moving different species and doing different activities as karma. So why we don't feel exhausted and do devotional service to Krishna in a serious mode?
Yeah, so like part of it, I could understand that we as a living entity are going from one body to another body, something like that, and then the later portion got missed out. What is the question?
Why we don't feel? The question is that why we don't feel exhausted of this moving into different species and do devotional service in a serious mode?
Yeah, so actually, yeah, and it's not just going on, we are suffering also. We are getting lots of,
Yes.
punch,
We are getting so
by
much
the,
suffering, but we don't feel exhausted of these sufferings.
correct. That is actually, the effect of Maya, the material illusory energy of the Krishna. So it's very powerful. So
Yes.
we need actually blessings. It's not easy. So Srila Prabhupada mentioned many times that we require some sukriti. Sukriti is something, some kind of special blessings which happens by the arrangement of Krishna. And when sukriti, so sukriti means it's like something, you're doing without any will. I mean, you are just suppose, you're going somewhere and suddenly you forget your the route, and then you just rotate something like this, and there will be some temple inside or something good inside, and then you get agyat sukriti. Unknowingly you did something sukriti means a good activity or a punyasali activity, punya work or action, or pious activity. And then that pious activity becomes some kind of seed, which gives you a chance so that your brain your whole this mind and everything becomes favorable in accepting the spiritual process or spiritual path. It's like it comes in Srimad Bhagavatam that Parikshit Maharaj says that, my dear Sukadeva Goswami, I don't remember any specific activity which I have done in my life, this life, so that I'm getting this chance of sitting in front of you and hearing pastimes about Krishna or understanding the pastimes of Krishna. And then Sukadeva Goswami, no, then he says that actually what I think that because why I have got this opportunity to hear from you, because my Dada, that Arjuna, he served Krishna. He served Krishna, and that's how, because I am his grandson. So being his grandson, I have got this opportunity to hear from you. So sometimes our parents, they have done some good activity, some pious activity, and then that blessing or something, it gets collected, and it like the drop and drop of these sukritis comes together, and then finally it results that we get the opportunity to hear from some devotees, we get the opportunity to read Srimad Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, and many people get opportunity also, but then that intelligence, the subtle intelligence, the adhyatmic intelligence, the spiritual intelligence, that we accept it also, or we start accepting it also, that blessing, that also requires blessing. And then actually, so basically whatever we have obtained, but particularly the spiritual process or the spiritual opportunity which we have got, it's actually some kind of sukriti which we may have acquired in this life, or we may have acquired in past life, or we may have acquired from our forefathers. There can be something here and there, but then it's very rare. Getting human life is very rare, and in the human life also, bade bhagya manus tan pava, it's in this Ramcharitmanas, that it's like, it's very much, we are very fortunate that we have got the human form of life. After getting a human form of life, it's again very rare to take birth, or to get the opportunity to practice even the opportunity to read Bhagavad Gita or Sanatan Dharma or Bhagavatam or Vedas, and then getting the direct devotion to Krishna is again very far rare. So it's actually due to Sukriti. Otherwise, very difficult. You see how many people we are, I think 9, 10 sitting here, and there's so many people. When we read this advertising and everything, so very few people comes. So it's like you'll find that in the sabji market or in the vegetable market, lots and lots of people will go, but in a diamond shop or in a jewelry shop, very few people will go who can pay the cost. So that is the reason that it's very rare. Prabhupada mentioned that it's not wonder that people are not accepting Krishna consciousness, but it is actually the wonder is that people are not. It's not wonder. It's wonder to see that few people are accepting Krishna consciousness, because it is very difficult to have that kind of buddhi or intelligence, and whatever you say, that we accept Krishna consciousness. Clear? I think he left. There was some network issue. Any other question?
Prabhu, is there any change in the morning timings of your class?
That Hindi one?
Yes, Prabhu.
The Hindi one, no, I think it was 9:30 today. So Purushottam Prabhu took morning class. I had some other functions, some. So we actually keep in like
Switching.
2 months we keep one kind of grasta special program, physical program we keep, and so that was today.
But exactly what is the time? The routine time of morning classes is from
9:30 to 11.
Acha, 9:30 to 11. Okay.
Yeah. And evening is 9 to 10:30, whatever it was.
Yours is also 9:30 p.m. Or yours is 9 p.m.
No, for India it's IST. I'm in India, no? So it's 9
So,
p.m. IST and morning one 9:30 a.m.
9:30.
IST. The Hindi one, yeah.
Hindi one. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Any
Prabhuji,
other
what is
question?
meant by initiated? Last time also I heard this topic and someone also asked when I went to LA. So what is initiated?
So initiation is Diksha. You have heard of the term Diksha?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so Diksha is the initiation means now formally you are initiated to practice devotional service. So it's like, you accept a guru and then guru accepts you as a disciple. And then, guru gives some instructions that you're supposed to do this much devotional service. You must spend some time every day, something like 1 hour, 2 hour, and he tells you, and then you accept. And then, you have a guru, like it's general traditional, thing in India.
Okay,
That,
yeah.
yeah, that's called Diksha. That's initiation basically. In English, we call it initiation, and in Hindi,
Okay.
we call Diksha.
Okay. Okay, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Anything else? No questions? So, everybody has this Bhagavad Gita copy?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Very good. So, you should read at least one page or half page or one paragraph every day. And then you'll see the difference. And you should try to chant some rounds of Hare Krishna, some
Okay.
mantra. So, basically, Prabhupada had given us formula of ABCD. A for association. Like we should be in contact with some devotees in connection with the temple or someone. So sadhu sangha means the association of devotees. Yeah,
Okay.
Dr. Kaustubh. Yeah, wonderful. You have Marathi English both. And then so A for association and B for book reading. So we should read scriptures, Bhagavad Gita. And then C stands for chanting. So chanting the holy names of the Lord. So for this age of Kali Yuga, chanting is the best way to revive our consciousness or revive our connection or revive our forgotten relationship with Krishna. So C is for chanting and D is basically the diet. So we should eat sattvic ahara. Sattvic ahara means no non-veg. Generally, the Vaishnava, they prefer, not eating onion garlic also. Apart from that, everything is sattvic. You can eat. And then we can offer also these foods to Krishna and we can accept as a prasadam. So if we follow ABCD, it's guaranteed that, the devotional life of ours will flourish. So I think with these words, I can finish or we can stop today's session. If no further questions or queries or things to add. Okay.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandvat Pranam.
Dandat pranam. Vancha kalptarupishpa sindhabhyascha pattanam pavan vivashna. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shadi Shiva Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram.
Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Nail Mata, you are not coming to Mayapur.
Prabhuji, I want to come, but there is no bookings available now. I had actually told long back that I will be coming, but probably it skipped from the mind of the person who was booking. And then now booking is not there, Prabhuji.
No, we can manage for you if you are determined to come.
Sir, Prabhuji, I'm determined to come, but even my Masi and her daughter wants to come. So we are actually now 4 plus 1. One is a small kid and we are 4 of us. We are actually trying for booking, but Prabhuji, nahi mil raha hai. Abhi bahut difficult hai milna.
No, I can try from my side. If you are like, if 5 are determined, then let me know. Like, it's fixed, then I
Prabhuji,
can
we
do some
are,
setting.
yes, we are determined, Prabhuji.
Okay, then I'll do some setting because we are actually 90 people. Managing 4 or 5 people in 90 anyway, it's not a big deal. if nothing happens, but then still, I'll search the room for you. You need how many?
Okay,
One room
Prabhuji.
or two rooms?
We'll require 2 rooms.
Two rooms, no?
And we have a
And you
small
want
kid
to?
also, so if possible, AC.
No, I'll see, because getting room is again a big deal, and then they see then the next step.
I'm into talks with the temple of Mayapur. Okay, they have told me that they can give me on 15, 16, but 17 I'll have to check out in the early morning. And we are going to be back by 18. So then it will be question of one day. So I'm getting,
No, that's
inquiries
fine. See,
other ways also.
anyway, we are 90 people, so, and we have like ample amount of rooms, 90. I mean, we can manage anyways. Without doing anything here and there, we can manage.
So what should I do? So should I book that 15, 16? Then
Yeah, if
17
you're getting
Monday we
15,
will manage.
yeah, if you can, if you're getting 15, 16, just book it, and then
Hmm.
17 will manage.
Okay,
And when you are
Prabhuji, then
reaching on 15,
I'm reaching in the morning, Prabhuji. We are yet to do the flight bookings because first I should get room, then I can book flights.
so I think you can book, I will manage. And secondly, I'm saying that 15th we'll be going to Ganga Sagar.
Okay, so 15th you will not be there in Mayapur.
No, we'll come in the evening, like night, like around 10, 11, 12, something like that.
Okay, no problem. We'll do darshan on 15th.
So if you want to come to Ganga Sagar, it'll be hectic actually. But then if you want to come,
It will be difficult, Prabhuji. We'll stay in Mayapur only. We'll have a look at the entire temple. And 15 will stay there only. Then we'll join you from 16.
okay. Anyway, we'll be going visiting places on 16, 17. And yeah, 16, 17 only will be visiting. 17 is disappearance day of Srila Prabhupada also. So it'll be great
Okay.
festival in the temple.
Wow. So, okay,
Yeah.
Prabhuji. So in the morning, I'll give you a message, whatever it is, about the
No
bookings
issue,
and
no
all.
issue. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.